Highway Weekend Football. I'm Michael.
I'm Leith.
And I'm Ross.
So last week we had our scoring system again. Leith, you weren't here, but you still managed to register your scores. So for the West Ham Man City game, we all went for the away win.
Didn't we all, yeah?
That obviously was a West Ham, so we didn't get any points. Swansea Leicester. Ross, you're the only one to get the result right. But Swansea to win 2-1. And they won 2-0 in the end.
Yeah.
We both put 1-1, Leith.
We got it wrong, never mind.
Burnley Everton. We all got the result right. But none of us got the score right. Ross, you said 2-0. I said 3-0. And Leith, you said 1-0.
Right, yeah.
Should have given Burnley a goal.
And Man United Chelsea, we all went away win. So that puts me at the bottom of the pile on 14. And Ross and Leith, you're tied with 15.
Close
for anything.
Okay, so the topics we're going to cover today are Newcastle versus Liverpool, Manchester City versus Manchester United, Villa versus Spurs, and finally Crystal Palace versus Sunderland. First up, Newcastle versus Liverpool. That's at 12:45 kickoff on BT Sport. Ross, where do you think that will go?
Well, it's been a game that's been famous for goals in the past. There's been plenty of Sky Sports montage with Stan Collymore, Kevin Keegan, etc. But Liverpool is struggling for goals at the moment. 0-0 draw with Hull on Saturday. And without Daniel Sturridge, they just don't look too sharp in front of goal.
So, it's a stat for you. Liverpool have had 16 shots on average per game. Only Man City beat that with an average of 17.4. Of those 16 shots on average, only 5 are on target. So that highlights Liverpool's problems, doesn't it, Leif?
It does. I think Newcastle have sort of reached a turning point now. Liverpool seem to be faltering a little bit and missing a regular goal scorer. Sturridge out, Balotelli frustrated, and the fans frustrated. I think Liverpool are unbeaten in the last 3, but the last 3 were Hull, QPR and West Brom. And they've now lost 3 of their last 8 and won 5 of 12. So they're very similar in the form table. Newcastle and Liverpool 8th and 9th. Last 6 games, 2-2-2, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, 7 goals for. Newcastle 8 against and 7-10 for Liverpool. I think this match could well end in a draw.
So they're unbeaten in 3 at St James's Park, and did you know they've only lost once there this season? That was to Manchester City on opening day. So Alan Pardew is leading a resurgence, don't you think, Ross?
Yeah, they definitely, he looked favourite for the sack at one point, but they seem to have come back into some form. They did have a lot of new players, to be fair, like they usually do most summers. I think Kabea, Sissoko are looking quite good. It was always going to take some time for them to get going, but it looks like they are going to start going up the table now.
Well, you never know with Liverpool. You never know whether they're going to turn up or they're going to rout. So
we forecast the draw last week against Hull. I mean, 3 weeks ago, people would have laughed at that. Liverpool are going to beat Hull easily, but it was 0-0. And again, back on to the shots. How many were on target? They had 17 shots against Hull. 4 of those shots were on target. It's just not good enough.
And a lot of them, I think, will be from. I know he's had a lot of stick lately, but I think a lot of those shots will be from Balotelli.
They would be.
Tends to
I
shoot
think
from anywhere.
He has quite a high shot average in the game. So what score do you think, Ross?
I'm going to go for a draw again. I just can't see Liverpool scoring too many goals at the moment. Like you said, Newcastle are coming back into some form, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
What about you, Leif?
It's quite rare, but I would agree with Ross, and I'm also going for the 1-1.
I'm going to risk a Liverpool performance and say they're going to win 2-1.
It's not that big a risk, though, is it? I think the bookies would say that the Newcastle home win would be the risk.
And bets, Ross, what do you think?
The bet I'm going for on this one is just the correct score. I've got a good feeling about the 1-1 draw, and the best odds of that is at Bet Victor at 7-1.
And what do you think, Leith?
I think the correct score is probably a good bet. For safer options would be both teams to score. I think they will, and perhaps under 2.5.
Yeah, I think, again, both teams to score is a safe bet, but my advice would be to stay away from the game completely due to the fact that Newcastle might turn up at home, Liverpool might turn up for the away. So you never know.
Anything can happen. It's football.
There's 3 outcomes. So
Let's choose them all.
Yeah.
next we got the Manchester derby, Manchester City versus Manchester United, which is on at Sunday at 1:30 on Sky Sports 1. Ross, Manchester derby, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, just shows a week's a long time in football. You asked me a week ago, I probably would have said City by maybe 2 or 3. But you look at their performance against West Ham on Saturday and compare that to United's on Sunday, which you were at, Leif, and I thought United, particularly in the first half, looked quite strong.
They did. They looked a different team on Sunday, yeah.
So, well, they have enjoyed a good record over United lately. I think they've won 5 of their last 6. Some of those have been quite convincing performances as well. But I think United are going to go into this with a lot more confidence, and I can see them getting some sort of result.
So both teams have a quite good passing accuracy so far this season. City sit on second on 86.3%, while Manchester United sit third on 86%. So they're quite similar passing ranges.
They're also very similar in form, just like the previous game we talked about. United and City, or City United, 4th and 5th in the form table. Both won 3 of the last 6, drawn 2 and lost 1. Similar, 14 goals scored by both teams. 8 conceded by City, 10 conceded by United. But also, City, a bit like Liverpool, they've had lots of possession. They're in their game against their last game, which was against West Ham. They had 21 shots on goal, 5 on target. Again, it's just too low.
Yeah, similar average to Liverpool. Just they're getting in the right positions, but just not finishing their shots.
I think the one thing they've got in favour over United at the moment is they have just got a striker in form in terms of Aguero. Yeah. He's obviously one of the best in the world at the moment. The advantages for United, I think Van Gaal showed against Chelsea, deploying Fellaini on Fabregas, that he's obviously a good tactician. He showed that at the World Cup as well, so I think he may employ similar tactics.
I think he's got to, because they're quite a physical side, like Chelsea are, and Fellaini was outstanding on Sunday. Yeah. Man of the match. I don't know who was the man of the match, actually.
I think he got it, yeah.
If he didn't, he deserved it. He was just... It was powerful, he was strong, he was keen, he wanted to impress, and a lot of the players were finally. It's only taken, however many games it is, I don't know, 9 games.
9 games, yeah.
So you think he'll be deployed against Torre?
I would be very surprised if he wasn't playing right from the start. I think they need him. They need another 2 players like that down in the middle of the park.
Well, I think a big positive for United would be if they can get Rooney back. There's talk of it, whether he's going to be fit, I'm not sure, but if he plays, that could make a difference to the outcome.
I think City, although their home form isn't great this season, they've only failed to score once in 22, which is quite impressive. Whereas United's away form, not so great. It was great under David Moyes, but their home form wasn't. But then this is the role reversal. Yeah. And so the last away win came back in April, Newcastle. So the last time Manchester United saw an away win was when David Moyes was manager.
Yeah, but how far do they have to travel to this one? Makes a bit of a difference. No, I think the fact that United are turning round and they're growing in confidence will have a massive effect on this game. Like Ross said, 2 weeks ago I would have thought City are going to win that easily, but I think this could be another shared points weekend.
I think what I've seen from the pattern, so what I've seen from doing this podcast for a couple of weeks, is Man United. They get the sense of they're turning, and then
it knocks them back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that unfortunately will happen again. But
you will, because you always seem to want United to lose.
Well, if Pedro Mendes' goal had gone in all those years ago, I might have felt different about Man United. But
move on.
I've got a little bit of Liverpool in me. So score prediction, Ross.
I'm going to go for points shared, 1-1 draw.
And Leith?
Oh, I can't believe we're agreeing again. Yes, I'm going for the draw. 1-1.
I'm going to go for the home win. Going to go 2-1. It'll be close, but it'll be 2-1. So Leith, where's your bets going?
I'm actually tempted on this match because it could well be 2-2 as well. If those goals are scored earlier, I could see it being 1-1 at half time and then another 2 goals, 1 each in the second half, which might be one of those crazy bets. Both teams to score in both halves, but I think both teams to score draw would be probably my favourite bet here. I think the odds are something like 3.4 at Bet365.
Yeah, we seem to be agreeing a lot today, Leif.
Oh,
I've
no.
gone for the.
You've been looking at my notes.
I've gone for the BTTS draw as well. I saw the best odds at 7-2 at Bet365.
Okay, so my low risk here is BTTS because I think that will definitely happen. Man City's scoring record and Manchester United have scoring a few as well. So best price of that are Ladbrokes. But then my high risk would be BTTS best result, which is obviously the City, which you'll get best price at Betway or Coral.
Final stat. United have only lost one of their last 8 league matches. Manchester City have lost twice as many. Just thought I'd drop that one in.
Third game we've got Aston Villa versus Tottenham Hotspur, which is on Sunday at 4 p.m. Leith, where do you think that will go?
Well, I mean, having looked at Villa's record over the last 5 successive defeats, failed to score in all of them, and they've only scored 1 goal in the last 6. So I think that's second from bottom of the form table, just above Burnley. But, you know, scoring 1 goal in their last 6 games and conceding 13, where are the goals going to come from? I'd be surprised if Spurs, who aren't in magnificent form themselves, but I'd be surprised if Spurs didn't win this game.
Based on the shots, they've got the lowest shots on target per game in the Premier League with 2.
And that explains the goal record, doesn't it?
And this falls to 1.8 shots per game when playing at Villa Park. It's bad, isn't it?
Terrible.
Not even 2 shots.
Lowest shots in the league, so I just can't see. They've got Benteke back. He's coming back into some fitness, but at the moment they just don't look like scoring. They were playing quite well before they had a tough run of games. They don't seem to have awoken from that really, and yeah, I think they're going to struggle against the Tottenham side, which look inconsistent at the moment, but I think it'll be maybe a scrappy and tight game at Villa Park, but I can see Tottenham just getting over the line.
Yeah, even though Tottenham haven't scored that many, they've scored a few, but I mean
they've scored 1 goal in each of their last 4 league games, which is 1 more than Aston Villa have.
That's true. Well, they don't do 0-0 draws anyway. As I found out today that they've only drawn 0-0 on 3 occasions in 93 league games.
Wow, that's quite a statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise defeat though against Newcastle at home.
That was a terrible second half
performance. Don't look bad going forward. It's just the defence really. I think Kabul, I don't really know how he's still playing in the Tottenham back four. I think he's a bit of a liability. So I don't think scoring will be your problem. It's keeping the ball out at your own end. Yeah,
unfortunately, Kabul has been named club captain, but you haven't got a lot to choose from in that back four to lead the line. I mean, Vertonghen has left about a year ago in his mind.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
but he still goes out on the pitch, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He does.
Madness.
Hence why the mentality is being questioned currently. But yeah, head-to-head wise, Tottenham have quite a good record against Villa. So Tottenham have beaten Villa in the last 5 without conceding a single goal.
It's not a bad record, is it? I think it's 11 head-to-heads since Aston Villa won something like 6 years ago.
Yeah, and they've only conceded 3 goals in 9 Premier League games against Aston Villa. So it looks like a 1-0 for me, and I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs.
Do you think Spurs can score double the average in the last 4?
I hope so.
Let's see. Mind you, Villa have conceded 2 or 3 goals in the last 5, so it's a possibility, but I'm actually tempted. Because Villa Park's always a tough place to go to. I'm tempted to go for the 1-0 Spurs win.
I was thinking that Villa Park would be a tough place to go to. But has been, yeah. Well,
not so much this season.
The average possession is the second lowest at home. Crystal Palace is the lowest. They've only 39.2% average of possession at home. You'd expect a home team to have a lot more than that, but Ross, where are you going with that?
I think they make the pitch tight, Villa, stop Tottenham from playing, so I don't think it would be much of a spectacle for a Super Sunday, to be honest. But I also think Tottenham would just scrape it 1-0.
So with bets, I'm going to go for under 2.5, as that looks quite likely here with the least amount of goals. Lath?
Yeah, safe bet, certainly under 2.5. I'm tempted to go for a correct score here, maybe throw it into a lucky 15, a 1-0 away win. Might get about 5-1, something like that.
And Ross?
Yeah, I'd also back under 2.5 goals. I think the best odds were at Bet Victor.
Final game of today's podcast, Crystal Palace versus Sunderland, which is a Monday night kickoff at 8 p.m. So Palace have not won a Premier League game in the last 3, whereas Sunderland have lost back-to-back games for the first time since April, Ross.
Should be a cracking game. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it might not be too much of a spectacle, but with two poor defences, there could be goals in it. I thought Palace would struggle when Warnock was hired, but since he's come in, they haven't done too badly, to be fair to him. They're the highest scorers in the bottom half of the Premier League. They've scored 13 goals. I think it's one of those cliche early season 6-pointers, and I think home form would be crucial for Palace.
Well, only Stoke have better home defence in the bottom half of the table than Crystal Palace. So again, they're keeping it tight and scoring some goals. So they may look the favourite, Leith.
I think they probably will be. If you look at Sunderland's goal scoring record, there are a lot of gaps there. I think they've failed to score in 5 of their last 7. It's not a great record to have. Home advantage for Palace, and Palace over the last 12 have scored 18. They have conceded 23, so I can see Sunderland actually getting a goal here, but I'd expect that Palace will win this. Sunderland haven't beaten Palace in the last 5 head-to-heads. I think the last one in 2003. So, the last 2 games, Sunderland have conceded 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, one of those
8-0.
was the Southampton 8-0, but then at home to Arsenal, so it doesn't look great in your last 2 games. You've scored 0 and you've conceded 10, averaged 5 goals conceded.
Coming back to the head-to-head, the last 2 out of the last 3 have ended 0-0. So that's going to tell a big story in Monday night's game.
At the moment, they did defend better against Arsenal after their 8-0 thrashing at Southampton, but the individual errors cost them at the end of the day. And if you look at their back four, they've all got one in them. You always think there's a clanger in there somewhere. So yeah, I could see goals in this one.
And Leith, what are you going for score prediction?
I think score-wise, because Palace have conceded quite a few, I think that it'll be something like 2-1. It'll be a marginal home win, both teams to score.
And what about you, Ross?
Yep, in agreement again. I'll go 2-1 Palace.
We've agreed on absolutely everything today.
Ridiculous.
So if everything goes against you, I've won. So happy for me.
You're probably wrong as well. We're all wrong. No.
So both teams are in terrible form coming into this, and due to the 2 out of 3 0-0s in the past 2 head-to-heads, I'm going to go 0-0. And bets, Ross.
Yeah, well, I went for the Wilfred Boney brace last weekend, which came in the end. So I'm going to go for something similar on this one. I'm going to go for the Jason Puncham brace at 25-1 at Coral.
Okay, so 2 0-0 draws in the last 3. Again, I'm going to go for 0-0, and my advice would go through Bet365 as you'll get your money back if it's a board draw.
Mm-hmm.
And Leith?
This one, I think the best shot for me would be a sort of medium risk to high risk bet, 2-1 home win. Might get about 7-8-1 at Bet Victor.
So the last topic we're going to talk about is we're going to take you around the Premier League to give you the best value for your bets. So one of my games, BTTS West Brom versus Leicester over evens, which will get you the best price at Coral. Ross?
Yeah, I just like the look of the whole Southampton game. I think Southampton have been in good form lately, so I think a lot of people will be backing them. They also have the best defence in the league, but I think Hull might surprise a few people, especially after their 0-0 draw at Liverpool. And I think they could get another draw against Southampton, so you could get best odds of 5-2 at Bet365.
Another game I've gone for is BTTS plus result Stoke versus West Ham, and I've gone for a home win there, which might be a bit controversial given West Ham's current form. 19-5 at Coral though, so quite a good price there. Leith?
Yeah, I think I'll avoid that one. I've got a feeling that might be a draw given West Ham's form, so I'm going to go safe and go for the 2 short-priced games, but win to 0. Arsenal versus Burnley. Arsenal at home. Chelsea versus QPR. You might have a nice little double on a win to 0 there. And I do like the look of the Everton game as well. So, sorry, not Everton. Was it Everton? Oh, yes, the Everton game. Everton, both teams to score and result. 12-5 at Bet365.
Okay, the last game I'm going to go for is over 2.5 goals, Arsenal versus Burnley. The best price is at Betfred, Sky Bet, Bet365, Paddy Power, Bet Victor or Ladbrokes.
All equal.
All equal. I found that through the Football Coupon app, so use it.
Oh, that sounds good.
But my advice would be to hold off on this bet because one of them might move out, so produce higher odds for you. So thanks for listening. The next show, we've got Liverpool versus Chelsea, QPR versus Manchester City, West Brom versus Newcastle, and finally Swansea versus Arsenal.